I hate that this dupe system has been normalized. I'd like to know your guys' thoughts on this as well. What do you think about the whole dupe situation? I think everybody's kind of got to agree that, like, dupes that not only have massive advantages, but, like, specifically, I suppose we can look to games like MiHoYo's games that actually almost, well, do add to the kit of a character with dupes is not a good thing, right? I think it's fair to say, like, it sucks, doesn't it? It does suck. It really does when you not only do you have to pull for a character, but then you're missing out on potential mechanics of a character. Not even just stat sticks, mechanics of a character. If you're not getting copies, it blows. Let's have a look at this anyway. I miss being able to roll a team of units and being able to get them to their full power by raising them through gameplay. This system might have existed before, but MiHoYo definitely normalized having major ability upgrades locked behind character duplicates. Maybe it works fine in MiHoYo games, but the problem is that other greedy companies take it as a green light to copy the dupe system while not taking the good aspects of MiHoYo's games. Again, this is a worry. As somebody who's not going to be making 12 videos about casteries in Star Rail because I've stopped playing Star Rail, so I don't particularly care what happens to Star Rail personally, but I care when things get added to Star Rail that could be extrapolated and brought over to other games that could be potentially detrimental to a lot of games. And if it's very successful, a lot of companies, no matter what we like to say about HoYo, they're a market leader. Other companies look at what they do, and if they're successful with it, they copy it, don't they? So I hope that it's going to be successful. I'm sure it is. I just hope that other companies don't start to take on the whole global passive things and potentially even worse, having characters that have a global passive and it can get better through dupes, or even that the global passives are behind dupes on characters, because that would absolutely blow. Maybe, okay, we've read that. Madoka Exodera came out recently and uses outdated, greedy monetization while also copying MiHoYo's dupe system. So far, the only people who cleared the hardest content use full 5-star teams with heavy dupe requirements, as those units don't function the same without them. Can't speak on that. I haven't played Madoka yet. I've installed it and I was planning to try it out, but that blows if you really do need to lean into dupe requirements. Not even just having premium new squads and keeping up with the meta, but keeping up with a meta of dupe requirements, that blows. Additionally, having guides and comparing your power level has become so difficult with all players having different dupe levels. Needing to roll for duplicates reduces the thrill of pulling characters. I do agree with that. With kit upgrades being overtaken by dupe systems, a lot of characters feel incomplete, and raising them just for stats feels unrewarding. I agree with that as well. When it actually adds to the kit and adds mechanics to a character with dupes, it blows. Universal dupe items used to be a rare resource in a lot of games, but now I don't see any game with them. /end rants. Okay. Probably hollering it to the wind here, but every time I pick up a new gacha lately, it has the same dupe system and it eventually sours my experience. Well, I've got a good suggestion for you here, bro. If it's still the same when it comes out, check out Enfield, because from what we saw, that definitely doesn't seem to have the traditional dupe system. There's dupes, of course, and of course, a character that's got multiple dupes is going to be better than a character with no dupes. It's going to be so inconsequential, it's really not going to be a massive factor for you, to be fair. You'll be better off going with horizontal investment. And since people seem to lack reading comprehension and see red at HoYo being mentioned, even though I said it's fine in their games, I'm specifically referring, I don't think it is fine in their games. You know, this idea that, like, oh, that works in one game but doesn't work in another game, it's just a shitty system altogether, really. I'm specifically referring to the Constellation dupe system ability upgrades, not all dupes. Despite only complimenting MiHoYo, somehow most of the comments at HoYo fanboys white knighting against what exactly? Okay, all right, woof, damn. How long is this going to stay up in r/gacha gaming? How long is this going to stay up in r/gacha gaming? I don't know. Yeah. A dupe system itself isn't, well, let's be real a second. Gacha games, it's an incredibly predatory system, isn't it? We've got to be fair. We all consent to joining in on the gamba, but, like, let's not pretend it is what it is, right? If you go to the casino to have fun, you know what you're doing. You know what's going on at the casino and what their aim is to do. It's how smart you are with what you're doing and how you control your desires, shall we say. Dupe systems themselves, don't have to be bad systems, you know? It would be lovely to just be able to pull a character and that's, you know, it just then building the character and it's the best it could be. But let's face it, most games have dupe systems, but it's about how far they go with the dupe system, isn't it? Really, at the end of the day. It's about how far they go, how far a system that's not good gets even worse, really. Because dupes are not cool. It sucks to get a character to know that you now need to get that character another 5, 4, 6, however many a game has dupes to get everything out of the character. No matter what you do in the game, you'll never have that full potential. Does suck. But yeah, I think just having it as like a slight stat increase is the way to go, in my opinion. You know, HoYo definitely doesn't do it the right way. And, you know, look at Wuthering Waves. People talk about Wuthering Waves. Well, at least Wuthering Waves doesn't have changes to the kits, at least on premium 5-star characters. There's some major bonuses, isn't that? Just look at fucking Shorekeeper. There's a reason our C2 Shorekeeper, that 40% attack buff, a C1 getting the, what is it? Is it the expansion to a Stellar Realm and the length of time it stays up, and then a 40% attack buff on top of that. Insane. It takes it from being a really good character to being an absolutely cracked character. And I shouldn't say this to people, right? Because, you know, you shouldn't be encouraging people. But if you do get Shorekeeper, try and put yourself in a position, if you really want to get Shorekeeper, to get a C2, because game changer. Absolute game changer. Shouldn't be like that, but it is. It is. And yeah, it's a shame because obviously HoYo definitely does do things sometimes that are not exactly great for the space, and because they're such a massive market leader, everything they touch turns to gold. Everybody looks at them and goes, well, we need to do that, don't we? And yeah, this is why I haven't really spoke about it, but I am a little bit worried about global passives coming to Honkai Star Rail. Global passives themselves aren't inherently bad if it's something that you can just unlock in the game through story, free characters. You know, if a character comes to the game for free, if you just unlock abilities through your MC or something like that, however they want to do it through playing the game, totally fine, totally fine. But when you start locking it behind a paywall, that's when it becomes a major problem. And just because at the moment, let's call it what it is. Castor Ice's passive at the moment isn't that insane, you know? But when does it go to crit buffs, attack buffs, you know, just insane creep in the potential that, like, if you don't have these characters, you're going to get to a point where, you know, you've got your on-field characters and you've got a bunch of off-field characters that just totally change your account. And if you don't pull them, you're just straight out of luck. So yeah, you know, it's not great, is it? It's definitely not great. And I hope that this is why, like I say, obviously, Enfield hasn't come out yet. We saw what the potential is, right? And the potential looks good. There's part of me that doesn't want Enfield to be this runaway success that everybody jumps on board and it just becomes a bit of a shit show, right? In terms of like the CC side of things and the community. You know, that's some of my issues with Wuthering Waves. Sometimes some of the community side of stuff gets really annoying, especially on the CC side of things. I don't want that to happen to Enfield, but at the same time, I want Enfield to just be super successful and show that you don't have to do these other systems to do really well. Because, you know, just imagine Enfield comes out and makes a shit ton of money. They start throwing skins out there, like, you know, going hard into skins, making a bunch of money like that, and companies start to pivot. Because I saw a lot of people saying that, well, if Kuro does this and they win Game of the Year, everybody will follow what they're doing. It's like, no, they won't. If Kuro does that and sits at the top of the revenue every single month, everybody will follow. Awards don't mean anything. Revenue means everything to the companies at the end of the day. And that's a problem because HoYo sits atop of the pile. When they do things that are not great for us, it's not great for us as a whole, is it? Because everybody follows. But I'd love to know what you guys think about the dupe system. This isn't a hot take. I think everybody would probably agree. Dupe systems suck, don't they? It's just about, I guess, reducing the suckiness as much as possible. At least I will say that. Not to glaze Arknights too much. I think Arknights do a pretty good job of it. Enfield looks like it's going to do a pretty good job of it. Wiwa does a better job than HoYo, but still not a great job personally, in my opinion. And it would be nice to see a game come out that really pushes that to the side and successful with it. And, you know, everybody follows suit. It'd be nice to see. But yeah, you have to let me know what you think. Genshin got surpassed by Love and Deep Space, so there's competition. Yeah, but I've never played Love and Deep Space. Isn't Love and Deep Space super predatory? I don't know, though. I've never played it, and I don't really know much about Love and Deep Space, other than, like, obviously, it's the Guna game for girls. Very dislike this current state. It has a massive effect for PvP gacha. Yes, yeah. Gachas right now have you fighting on 3 fronts, trying to get the character, trying for dupes for the kit, and trying to get the signature weapons that work for best for the kit. True. It's a battle you're always losing at the end of the day, isn't it? Because, again, Cantarella, not great for your account at the moment, but I really wanted to get her. Lost her to Encore, spent all my asteroids. We've got the anniversary coming up. Now, this is a me problem because I really wanted to get Cantarella. I'm chipping away at Cantarella, but now I'm getting to the point where we're getting closer and closer to the anniversary. I want to have some pulls for the anniversary, but then not only have I got to get Cantarella and then need to get a weapon, and then it's like, ugh, you know, and it does suck sometimes. It does suck. But some of that is on me. I could have easily skipped Cantarella. I am going in for the booby waifu meta here. I'm not going to lie. MiHoYo doesn't even have a dupe system. You only have dupes if you like said characters. Otherwise, you just sell them back. Okay. We're looking at, to be honest, biggest problem with dupes is that they can neutralize character weakness like Clue Klein Girlfriend, line 2. She's great OE healer. Black solo target damage unless you have 3 V3, which make her a broken ass uni. Yeah. That's when it becomes a problem. Like, don't get me wrong, the dupe system itself is inherently, like, it's a FOMO system. It's a predatory system, like, right? But, as you say, when a character goes from being, this is a decent character, to being insane after a couple of dupes, yeah, man, you know? And that's why a lot of the time, it's usually, like, copy 2 to 4, where the character really becomes insane, because they know a lot more people are likely to go for 3, 4 copies than they are going for like 5 or 6. So that's why typically you get those broken stat increases or kit additions, don't they, at those copies. Dupe systems are great for whale bait, so it's still free to play. Hey, well, I suppose, you know, I suppose you can make those arguments as long as you feed the whales, everybody else gets to play the game free. Random. I'll be okay with dupes if they improve the kit and not lock it. Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, I think if there was no signature weapon, dupes wouldn't be half as bad, would they? Definitely, yeah. Because we might look in Wuthering Waves. I could probably get a character plus 2 dupes in probably less pulls than, obviously, if RNG goes your way, than it would with the weapon, because I have to go hard pity every single time with the weapon. I suppose that's a good thing, though. At least the weapon's guaranteed in WoW. But yeah, it's a girl's game to make it free to play. Signature weapons are only acceptable if it comes along with a character. I'd hope we will be able to craft weapons in Enfield, bro. Well, yeah, I agree as well. I think a lot of people, because what is it? What is it, 70-25 or whatever it is? A lot of people freaking out about that, weren't they? Was it 25-70, whatever anyway. But the fact that you get your pulls from your weapon pulls from your pulls, I think it's a better system than having to have separate pulls even on a guaranteed weapon banner, you know? Again, I think the HoYo system has groomed a lot of people to think that's the optimal system. There's better systems out there that on paper, when you read it, you're like, wait a minute, what? That sounds worse, but when you get into the weeds, you know, it actually works out a little bit better. Imagine Arknights having exactly, Leo. It's a scary thought, isn't it, when you think about it? You start getting down to this global passive situation. As I say, if it's something you can lock in game, all good. But once you start getting to that thing of premium characters having skills that literally don't even need to be in your squad, yeah, it's not good. Apollo, yeah, we watched it, dude. We watched it. Exactly, T. Exactly. The amount of, like I say, I know we've spoken about it before, but the amount of videos that were freaking out about Enfield's gacha system at the start was just like, what are we doing here, man? Like, why do you want the exact same system as what we've got in WoW and in Genshin and Star Rail? Right? Like, have you seen how expensive it can be to freaking S6 a character, S6 R5 a character, or E6 fucking S fucking 5 a character in Star Rail or Genshin? It's incredibly expensive. I'll get a character, and maybe if I get a bunch of copies, the character's 40% better overall. It's like, okay, I can deal with that 40%. The dupe system doesn't even make sense for games with limited banners. That's just straight up money. Well, yeah, exactly. It's forcing you to go for multiple copies in that short space of time, isn't it? Yeah, agree. That in Madoka, there are some dupes that make the character have some kind of power-ups, but hey, there's no weapon gacha. The only gacha is the character. Oh, is that true? Okay. Still not a great system, but I think if you know, I don't like the dupe systems being like that. But if you're removing a weapon to maybe make the dupe system a little bit more predatory, FOMO, I guess like you kind of, you know, at the same time though, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, aren't you? So it works out the same kind, you know, you end up, you know, exerting the same amount of currency out here or money out here at the same time.